All right, everybody, welcome back to Rice and Beans. It is Wednesday, November 4th. We still don't have a new president, or maybe we do. We shot this show on Sunday. I'm wearing the same shirt as yesterday and Monday. So are they. Don't pay attention. Anyways, today we are going to be talking about the Electoral College. This is probably going to be one of our longer segments because something tells me that these gentlemen don't quite have the same views on it. So, gentlemen, let's start talking about the Electoral College. I think we're going to go interesting places, but is it outdated? Are there any positives and negatives for the Electoral College? And is there a benefit to just allowing the popular vote dictate? Because if you look at, I think it was like 4 of the 5 last Republican presidents lost the popular vote, but somehow win the Electoral College and end up president.
So I'm not a fan of college.
Let you guys go.
As many of you know, I'm not a fan of college, but I am a fan of the Electoral College. And let's just starting off. Do you guys agree with the intent of the Electoral College? Because if you in the Federalist Papers, Alexander Hamilton, who's the man, I'm a big fan of his. He clearly said the whole the intent, the motivation, it might not be the outcome, is to literally stop conspiracies, cabals, and and corruption. 3 things we all hate. And he said the number one, the strongest thing that he feared the most was that if a foreign entity kind of had blackmail over someone or prop someone up, had a P tape on them, and he didn't mention P tapes, but he did mention a foreign country prop someone up and had them be president. You kind of have this body, and he said that body could be prostituted. His words, not mine, but at least they're going to have to say in public, I'm going to cast a vote for this president, and they could maybe be publicly shamed by the public. But the intent of the Electoral College was a check towards craziness and towards a lot. Yeah.
Max, you keep bringing up in good intentions, but that is what the road to hell is paved with. Good intentions.
Yeah.
I believe the Electoral College, in theory, like a lot of things, was originally a great idea. There should not be some flyover democracy where, New York and Los Angeles and Texas and Florida, the big population hubs decide what happens for the entire country. That being said, we didn't know it was going to be this insane, right? There should be a very valid argument why California with 40 or God however many people living this overcrowded state,
40 million
40 million, something like that. We got 40 million people here. We get 2 senators. What about Iowa or Rhode Island? Also 2 senators. Why isn't the senators also based on population like the House of Representatives is? Number one, I don't think that's especially fair. Number 2, one thing that we really could do to fix this right-handed here wouldn't need an amendment, because I don't know if we'll ever get to the place where we ever could have an amendment again, because 2/3 of the Senate and the House have to agree on it. Good luck with that. And also 2/3 of the states have to agree on that. Good luck with that. So I don't know if we'll ever have an amendment again, but we wouldn't even need to. If we could, as a state, start switching to however many percentage of delegates you got, would give it a better shot. I know a lot of Republicans in California would be very happy with this even, and a lot of Democrats would too. I believe if anything has taught us that the executive branch has way too much power.
So Max, that's why I think
I'm for actually, by the way, we could have some discussions about those kind of reforms.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I've said in the past is maybe you don't get 2 automatic votes per state, maybe you get 1, because that kind of really helps out Wyoming. But the reason why I'm against direct democracy, period, because that's you talk about good intentions, that's the madness of crowds, and that scares me. And what Madison, who wrote I think he wrote the Electoral College part of the Constitution, his big argument was he feared if someone got gamed the system, got 50.1% of the votes, which isn't even of the population, because it's not everyone votes, and some people can't vote, like kids and convicts and that sort of thing. So someone wins at 50.1%, and they're kind of like a fascist type regime, and their first thing is hey, I want to kill all blank demographic. And so he was
it was. You did also mention in your argument before that it was meant to ensure that if there was a P tape or if whatever.
Yeah.
Your words, not mine. But aren't we now seeing the failure of that, knowing that in the election there was a foreign power that was in fact holding something over our now president. And
Yeah,
we
no,
know
I
that there
disagree
were
with that.
levels.
We can, no, so I read the Mueller report. I disagree with that. They didn't have shit. If that's the evidence that
Well,
they
no,
have,
but
yeah.
not, it's
If they had real
the fact
evidence,
that there,
yeah.
not that there was something over him, but the fact that, because when it came out, I read the whole thing as well. I was stuck in the middle of the ocean. But it was interesting too, because there was definitive evidence that there was a foreign power that was trying to interfere in the election towards a specific candidate.
Yeah, but when
That
Hamilton was
candidate
talking
ultimately ended
about
up winning.
like a mole, Hamilton was specifically talking about like if Donald Trump was a Russian KGB spy. That's what
Mhm.
Hamilton was talking about, and
Okay.
and he was more talking about the electoral body like being a check, and he's saying they could be corrupted too. It's just like
Mhm.
one more layer of protection. But I agree with Beans here that and you Stoner, that there could be problems with like the math side of it now just because of
Mhm.
population. And like I would be willing to some discussion.
What
States have been
really
doing the thing where I think 2 states have done it where like if they just go with the popular vote, their state doesn't matter. I forgot
Well,
which
that's,
one.
it's you now see it where statistically certain votes have more weight, they carry more weight, they are worth more. I mean, how do we incentivize people to vote if you say, okay, well, you're in California and you're a Republican, your vote obviously doesn't count. Yes, you can voice it, but does that matter? You go to another state that, your electoral college vote per capita is higher, your vote is worth more because you're in a flyover state. How is that justifiable?
Well, let me sip some tea here because what would incentivize people to vote is we had quality candidates, which we never did. And like in my state, I'm in a state, I'm in
Vote for
your
Kanye.
situation. Yeah, I'm in your situation where like I've never had a presidential election where it's even been close in Illinois.
Hmm.
But like, so the answer is like having competitive local races. But in Chicago, the Chicagoland area, there's like 33 state rep races. I think there's only like 3 Republican candidates, like
Hmm.
30 are unopposed. So there's a lot we need to be doing to incentivizing people to vote. Starts with good candidates, but I'm all for discussions on other things we can do as well.
Hmm.
Maybe even
well
Beans Price can get out the vote movement going.
the problem is everybody's serious. Oh, my vote doesn't matter. My vote doesn't matter. Well, if everybody thinks that, yeah, it's true. It doesn't matter if one person thinks that, but when so many people are convinced that their vote doesn't matter, collectively speaking, it makes a big difference.
Hmm.
Michigan came down to 2 votes per district last time.
Oh yeah, there
Al
was a
Frank Al Franken got elected by a matter of 320 votes. It matters, you know.
Yeah, and there was a state rep race and like just outside, thinking like in Lake County in 2018, they came down to 2 votes, and then there was a recount and it got switched over. But yeah, so vote counts, especially in local elections. Because if you look at these people that have a lot of power, like the most powerful person in Illinois is Mike Madigan. Everyone will say that he's the Speaker of the House, head of the Democratic Party, state rep, committeeman. He gets elected through like 12,000 votes per election. So
And
your vote
on
counts
top,
somewhere, maybe not on president, but on something.
and,
Oh
and
yeah,
also, ensuring trust and security in our democracy also
Hmm.
comes, at the polls. Our voting booths are actually very secure. However, the registration process is a shit show.
yeah.
Uh, we just had, who was it? A governor tried to go vote, and a hacker got into his stuff and changed his address.
It's
So
crazy.
if it
Yeah,
can
we'll
happen
talk
to a
more about we'll talk more about that tomorrow as well, because we're going to cover all the election security, the safety of the ballots, all of this other stuff. It's
right, right.
it's kind of crazy where we are right now. Um, it's tough. It's a tough question, and I think that there were great intentions. Like one of my favorite memes that's out there right now is you're talking to a politician from 1776, and you go, okay, well, the electoral college is great, but what about the 40 million people in California? He spits out his tea and goes, the how many people and what?
Yeah,
So
I saw that meme. That was hysterical. I
oh,
agree.
it's incredible, and
Yeah, yeah.
it does make sense. We're in such a changing time, and being like what you said, it's going to be very hard to get any sort of amendment through ever for the Constitution at this point, just because there is such a level of division. But is there a way that we can amend the voting process, even if it's not going to the popular vote or sticking with the Electoral College? That
Well,
either
that's
you
kind of
think
the
will
catch
work.
22. That's like the bureaucratic catch 22 because it's like This is a math science problem, like a literal math and science problem, but we're gonna let it be handled by politicians who could totally like. If you want to see a horrible math and science, look at your local district, especially in a state like Illinois with gerrymandering, which isn't Democrat Republican because Wisconsin's doing it on the Republican side, Illinois does it on the Democrat side. And if you look up district, is it 3 or 4 in Illinois? It looks like a spider web. Just,
But
like,
we
there's
see
no rhyme or reason. Yeah.
you know, we see people gerrymandering themselves though. You know, big cities all start to think alike. Rural towns all start to think alike. So it's kind of a couple-headed monster. You know, it's not just obviously these politicians are redrawing the lines specifically to make them, the party in power have a better shot, but people aren't helping.
I mean, no, yeah, there's definitely like groupthink, but like some of this gerrymandering is ridiculous. Where the lines are like, and they'll X stuff out for like tax reasons or to be spiteful. Like there'll be a candidate they don't like, and they'll just go the block over. Like we need more like math and scientist minded people in government that aren't
than actors.
Yeah,
we need those
or entertainers.
Sonny
was the science is a good thing.
Bono, or was it Bono? Which one? Sonny and Cher. Sonny.
I think it was Sonny Bono.
Sonny
I think.
Was an actor. Yeah.
Isn't that a show in Vegas?
Yeah, no, that's why I'm anti-tree. They took out Sonny.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Wait a minute.
He was a congressman or something. Yeah, there's a few good ones. Franken was someone like that's like I'm a Republican obviously, and like disagree on Franken on a lot of issues, but like that was the direction, and even Anthony Weiner, I hate to say it, where like they were kind of more centrist, like not in terms of like ideology, but kind of going after kind of no-brainer stuff we agree with.
Yeah,
like both sides did.
Well, eventually you're going to have to be bipartisan if you ever want to get anything done. You have to learn how to communicate with someone with different views than you.
And there's a lot of bipartisan, low-hanging fruit stuff that just like everyone wants lower drug prices, and like there are a lot of simple ways to get
except for the Republicans that have their money in drug companies, but not
Republicans,
sorry, politicians
and the Democrats too, and the Democrats too.
Absolutely, Cory Booker, he disappointed me on the Canada. Like we almost got the bill where we can get it from Canada.
Yeah, I know. Bernie Sanders and Ted Cruz co-sponsor a bill as politically ideology opposite as those two guys are.
Absolutely, but they could do that for 100 years. There's so many like just issues that like
we'll have to do a whole show on bipartisanship since we're a bipartisan political talk show at this point. So, gentlemen, any closing arguments on the Electoral College?
It's not actually a college.
You don't get a degree?
Yeah, because
it won't help you get a job.
If it was a college, I went before it. And my closing arguments is that it's not perfect. Like I think it's not perfect, but at least it is a one layer of protection. It's like any building. You need a lot of different layers of protection in case something goes wrong. And the Electoral College can be perverted or prostituted was the word that Hamilton said. I think it was like Federation Paper 68. But at least like they got to do it in public. So if the Electoral College messes around after this episode, we all can revolt, but don't do that. And if you do, don't blame us.
Right. Because eventually after that, we still have to get through Christmas together, guys, and Thanksgiving. I can't imagine how awkward Thanksgiving Day dinner with your crazy uncle is going to be if Trump or Biden, no matter who wins, this is going to be a very awkward holiday season for families.
So share.
So share
the plates.
CHER.
Yeah, and don't
only
violent.
Share.
Like how awkward would that be if it's a violent like situation?
Violent Thanksgiving. You can't punch.
No, violent free. No, the election reaction is violent. Like if you go out there.
Oh, very well. There could be riots in the streets as this episode's playing. We wouldn't know.
And
that's okay.
At Christmas, be on both sides of the table.
Knock on wood, guys.
Yeah, knock on wood. Be safe out there.
Wood.
Yeah, keep it on YouTube. Make you
exactly
again.
Hide behind your screen, yell at other people that we support, kind of.
Absolutely. Twitter fingers. Work them out.
Anyways, that is our episode for Wednesday. Make sure to like the page, subscribe, and come back tomorrow where we will be discussing election security. See you tomorrow.